Hello. Thank you so much for coming out today for the Chestnut Grove Elementary School Oral History Project, funded by the Conservation Fund. I thank you so much for joining us. Would you please state your name and then tell us the schools that you have attended?
My name is Betty Quintero Soto, and I attended Chestnut Grove Elementary and Unity High School and Statesville Senior High.
Thank you. Could you tell me what grades that you went to here at Chestnut Grove
Uh,
Elementary?
in 1954, I started here at Chestnut Grove Elementary, and it would only go to the eighth grade. Then I graduated in 1962 and went to Unity. And I finished my last year, 1966, at Statesville Senior High.
Thank you very much. Are there any special memories of teachers or anything that stands out to you of for your years you were here at Chestnut Grove Elementary?
Oh, yes. Miss Mary Morrison, she would always begin her class. If St. Peter came today, he would ask you how you played the game of life. Not did you win or lose, but how you played the game of life. And I'm thinking, it took me a long time to know she was talking about the game of life. We as young kids, it stuck in our heads, but we really didn't know what that means. Uh, St. Peter's going to ask you, not did you win or lose, but how you played the game. And she was talking about the game of life. And one day I was in church at Chestnut Grove Church, and it came to me, she's talking about the game of life. And she was a very good teacher. She always looked after her students, and she would go the last mile for you. And I just love her.
Oh, good. All right. Now, would you tell me about a typical day that you had when you came? Like what time of day you would start classes, what classes you took? Tell us about your lunchtime. What kind of breaks did you have throughout the day? Were there any extracurricular activities you participated in? So, just a typical day
Oh,
that you
yes.
remember.
We had, at one time, Miss Morrison, we would always begin, like I said, she would give us the ABCs, when I call them the ABCs, reading, writing, and arithmetic. And at recess, we would go out and we would all play basketball. We would always do at lunchtime, I mean, at research, uh, at at recess, we call it recess then, we would always do play basketball, baseball. And so I learned to play baseball, basketball. And so Mr. Campbell, he was in the military. And so he always had us doing exercise. We had to do a lot of exercises. And I'm trying to think what other teacher do I remember. Miss Houston, she was the storyteller. She would always tell us scary stories. And Miss Sadie Marson, I remember her too. Um, um, I remember the cafeteria lady, which was Miss Lou Pfeiffer. They, at lunchtime, sometimes, if you were a good student, they would let you go to the cafeteria and help her out with learning how to cook. I thought that was fantastic. And so Chestnut Grove also was where they had meetings at night where people like my mother who didn't know how to sew, um, they learned how to sew. And so a lot of the Ramseurs like Mary Ramseur and them, which my grandmother was a one-room school teacher, and she went to Bethany, Freedom, Bethany 1 and Bethany 2. And so I learned a lot from her and my grandfather, because my grandfather in this area was one of three well cleaners. And so my Nanny Summers Ramseur, she taught me how to use a brown paper bag and cut out a pattern before we could go buy them. And then I remember Miss Holiday. She had like a T-mile Ford. She would come down sometimes and let us see her. And we knew who she was. And I mean, my dad also was a history buff. He when he came back from the military, from the Navy, he would always tell me who was who. He would tell me about the Foxes, the Lazenbys, these white families. He would tell us about them. And then he would tell us about the James brothers. Uh, I spoke to the mayor and the county commissioners, and I told them the reason why that mall is still there, I think they just sold it. He said it was two brothers, one leased and one sold. The one that leased, that's why Signal Hill Mall is still there. Then he would drive me all through the neighborhood and tell me who was who. He would talk about the Bruners. He worked with the Feemsters at it was Robinson's cotton place where they baled cotton at the time. So I know our family was totally different. We could talk about anything at the table. A lot of uh, my father didn't punish us many times. I think in my whole life he only punished me 3 times.
Speaking of that, what type of punishment do you recall that they used here at Chestnut Grove Elementary?
Oh,
Not that you got punished, but other
yeah.
people.
Oh, yeah. I was a fighter. I was, yeah. Yeah, I was a fighter because I was big for my age, and so a lot of times, if I saw somebody picking on somebody else, I took up for them.
So did you ever get punished when you were
Oh,
in school?
sure.
And what kind of punishment did you get?
I only got spanked one time by Mr. Campbell, and I got
And
into
Mr.
it.
Campbell was who?
Mr. Campbell was the principal.
Oh, he's the
He
principal.
was the principal, and the he taught us how to be a Dodger fan. He talked about the Dodgers. And so, plus, he was a Democrat. Miss Morrison was a Republican. And so, he would tell us the difference. And so, that's when I learned about politics. This school taught us a lot of things before it was fashionable to learn about it. They taught us sex education, even though we didn't know what we were looking at. They showed it to us because it was a very school before its time. The teachers here were definitely before their time.
So can you tell me what type of materials, books and things that they used here?
Well, that was the thing. Miss Marsh and them, they told us, they said, oh, we got secondhand books from the white schools. We did not, they weren't brand new books. Um, so in the library, uh, they would tell us to read from one end to the other, and that's what we did. Um, uh, my grandmother was a one-room school teacher, so she never kept us out of school. My mother never kept us during cotton picking time when I grew up. Uh, we never we went to school all day, but some kids like the Motons, uh, they they had to pick cotton. They had a lot of land, but they had to pick cotton. Um, we picked cotton, but we didn't pick that much. When my daddy got out of the Navy, he always wanted to go back to California. My mother wanted to stay here, so.
So in the years that you were here at Chestnut Grove Elementary School, how were the bathrooms? Like that
Oh,
now?
at when from the first grade we had toilets. I remember they had one for the boys and one for the girls, and so we had a pot-bellied stove. I remember that when I first started, but then I remember when they built this section. I forget the year, but yeah, I remember we over there. They had well, we did a lot of programs. They had like a gym. It was a gym and cafeteria, really. Where we did the plays, the stage. It was a stage built there, and that's when we had indoor. It was we got an indoor bathrooms, and we didn't have to have bag lunches anymore. We had a Miss Lou supplied. She was the cafeteria lady, and so she cooked for us.
Thank you so much. So at the time when you were attending Chestnut Grove Elementary, was there any discussion about segregation?
Oh
Did
yes,
the
um,
teachers talk about it or anything?
uh, oh yes. We a lot of people from this area was in the sit-ins. I can remember at Chestnut Grove Church, part of the people didn't want to didn't want to, I say stir the water. But yeah, we would hear them talking on the bus, and then when I was at Unity, they even talked about it. Which I took my last class at, like I said, Statesville Senior High. We could already graduate from Unity, and so that's the way it was back then. And
Also, I wanted to know what is your thought about Chestnut Grove Community Center doing these oral histories? Do you think
oh, I
it's
think this is fantastic because Mr. Alvin, he had we used to come up here and do exercises. He would get certain programs that we qualified for, like the ministry program from the prison. They put the roof on this. They changed the roof on this new building here, and so he was always looking for ways to help the community. And so that was one thing. 1775, Bethany, uh, which our families are part of. Murchison preached on keeping land. Back then, most blacks owned, I think he said, about 80% of this area. And so a lot of the land has unfortunately moved on.
okay? Before we end this interview, is there anything else that just sticks out to you that you remember about your time here that you feel like has really influenced your life?
Yes, when I was at Unity, uh, my teacher was J.Q. Davison. He said, his thought was like, he said, well, he just said it. He said, you better be acting like you got some sense, because sometimes we cut up in the classroom. And he said, you better be acting like you got some sense, because one day you're going to be sitting up in the room with these white kids. You're not going to know nothing. And so back then, it wasn't a lot of schools that was integrated. And so the teachers back then, they could see ahead, like Mr. Littlejohn. Mr. Littlejohn was one that back then, most of my uncles worked at Southern Screw. Southern Screw was a worldwide screw factory that shipped screws all over the world. And so Statesville was uh, different. I'll say it like that. Different. Reverend Harris, Reverend Lee, and a lot of others were people that said we need to be doing this. It wasn't as many churches as we have now. Most of the churches came together to change things. That's why things were changed. Plus, like I say, we had the Foxes, the Lazenbys, and now that I do genealogy searches, I know why, because I understand. My grandfather used to always tell us about our mixed blood, and now that we have DNA has come along, and I see how we are connected and how we are the same people. And so it's fascinating to me.